It was the song that was composed for her late Majesty the Queen for her platinum jubilee. And I thought, yeah, that's very fitting for our wonderful Queen who's now just recently been blessed for her husband. And also the fact that this nation wanted to dedicate a song to her. Of course, the national anthem is about, you know, her gracious Queen, the noble Queen. And it's not a personal thing, but it is a person that's holding a status for the nation and is the head of the nation. But saying that, she was a woman of great integrity and great example of God-fearing and also constancy for the sake of her citizens, not just here in the UK, but also the Commonwealth, how she really pursued to find the best for the people. Of course, we know, all of us, that there's historical implications that perhaps the empire didn't conduct itself properly. But besides that, as a woman of great example, and how we could see when she passed, the nation was pouring tears and pouring out their heart towards her. And I think it's we are so lucky to have had such a sovereign governing us. And of course, we are coming to a point where we're going to have King Charles on the 5th, I think it's the 5th of May, that he will be crowned as the king of this country. So it is also about the Queen bequeathing her mission to her son. Incredible, really, if you think about it, even though he's nearly 78 or something like that, quite senior. 70 or something. Yeah, anyway, he's quite. So anyway, I just wanted to use this theme, but it's not just for the Queen, but it's also for each and every one of us, you know. And I chose this Bible quote because I feel it is a quote that really reflects Jesus and our true parents' hearts. Like true parents and Jesus came with the like a truth to free us, to free sinful people from their chains and shackles that are stopping them from loving God, from finding a way to have a relationship with God. And because of the fall, and because of the tragedy of that, we were shrouded in darkness. We lost our vision, we lost our ways, and ever since been searching for a path towards that light and to know that relationship with God. But we were kind of lost and don't know our value of who we are and our dignity in front of our heavenly parents. And Jesus came on a great foundation of many central figures in history and found that path and was prepared and cultivated by God for this purpose. It was not for his own glory he came, but he came for the glory of our heavenly parents and to reveal his heart, the parental heart that had been never had opportunity to flourish or to express itself. So we know the tragedy that Jesus went through, how he was rejected by the scribes and Pharisees who thought they were better because they knew more, or because they were versed in the Bible or versed in their scriptures, and then treating him like a untouchable and looking down on him because of his lowly birth and his terrible no education, but his value was even greater than those scribes and Pharisees. And he demonstrated, even though he wasn't educated, but he demonstrated through his acts of kindness and going beyond himself to break down those barriers, and then carrying that kind of persecution from others. It is not an easy thing to do. I feel that Jesus was really incredible in the eyes of God. He really tried his best to really reveal God's heart to people, to show the love that they are deprived of. And he really reached out to the people who would listen to him. That was the untouchables of society, the prostitutes, the down and outs, the tax collectors, the fishermen, you know, who really are really down to the earth, the salts of the earth people, you know. But the quality of heart that these people responded to Jesus was very important. He needed a reciprocal base to express his heart to somebody. And I just felt this quote, Bible quote, is really depicts Jesus's whole ministry, in a sense, that he's the Son of God, but he went to the lowest, to his disciples and washed their feet. And even though he was in such turmoil and difficulty, he really did his best to really serve and show by example. And then he knew his time was limited, and he wanted his disciples to live that kind of life of service to others, leading with the heart of a servant. And that really kind of brought this point when I was reflecting about this, about True Father. You know, he revealed to us so many heavenly secrets that we are so lucky, so fortunate. And I always remember Fumika-san saying to me, I'm happy you're here, actually, Fumika and Mike, that we are very lucky people. And I really believe that we are very lucky, because we know the secrets from heaven, which Father has taught us through the principle, not just the word, not just in our minds, but also through his example of going through, you know, making a foundation as a child, and then just you can read in his book, the Global Citizen. What an amazing book that is. It's one of the books I love the most, because that's where I can find so many things about Father's heart, the depth of his heart. And he also, you know, depicts the same thing that Jesus was showing, that you really have to go to the bottom and then work your way up. And then Father taught us this one secret, that is, you know, these 8 stages, 8 steps, vertical steps and horizontal steps. I don't know if you have read that speech where he speaks about these 8 stages of restoration and providential settlement. And it's exactly what True Mother is talking about, the settlement time. But this was, I think, in 1990, Father was talking about this. And it's for me, that was one thing that really helped me to overcome all the difficulties that I go through sometimes, even in positions of leadership. You have to keep unity amongst different types of people. And then Father practiced that in his own life, going through these courses of servant, and then adopted, stepson, adopted son, to all these 7 until you can become the parent and to God, you know. And then also the horizontal of the individual mind and body, family, unity, all these stages on the horizontal level, you know. I found this fascinating. I thought this is a treasure. People don't know about this, how you can restore yourself and how you can remove the things that are stopping you from loving others and from really connecting to the heart of other people. It is so easy it's very easy to see the bad in others and then if someone accuses you, it's so easy to take it personally, but then to find a heart to resolve these things, you need some kind of method, you need some kind of process, you know. It's not just, of course, you need to pray, but also through action, through going through these courses of being a servant without any opinion. And then you become, you know, a servant doesn't have any views, You know, you can't think anything, you are who you are, and then you have to do what the master tells you. And then you go into that servant level where you have a little bit of trust with a master, you know, and then you become like a stepson, that you have some kind of relationship with the parent, but not totally. This kind of the method that fathers taught us, that everything is possible if we practice those things. Like, for example, one thing I wanted to share was when I was, you know, in order to lead, you have to keep unity in a team. And there was one sister that was really very, very clever, very intelligent, and very versed in the principle, and a very good sister, actually. But she was very disruptive, and she was very, very accusing, you know. And for me, oh gosh, it was so difficult, and lots of accusations, and really having a go at me, you know. And then I thought, oh gosh, what shall I do? Because I need to keep unity, you know, bring the team together. And I thought, gosh, I can't really openly say to her in front of everybody, actually, your actions are wrong. But I had to find a way, you know, to look into myself. So it took me a long time to come to that kind of point, you know, dealing with my own fallen nature, and why can't she just get over it, you know? Why can't she just help and make unity, you know? And anyway, so I decided to make a 40-day condition, 12 minutes every day. And of course, in the beginning you do it, and then at the beginning of the condition, it's good, you know, you start praying, and then I got a little bit upset. I don't want to do this prayer, you know, I don't want to really go through this process, but then I thought I have to pray, you know. So I'd go out for walks in order to do this prayer and think about this sister, and try not to have an opinion about her, and try to see it from God's viewpoint. But it was so difficult during these 40 days to get to that point of really accepting her. And why she's so, is it better that I just ask her to lead the team? You know, maybe that's the easiest way. You know, we just get on with our work, but actually God put her there for me, you know, for a reason. And then on my 39th day of this prayer condition, she called me suddenly. She called me and she said, oh gosh, I've been feeling that I should have to say sorry to you, you know, because the way I've been behaving. And I was flabbergasted, actually. I was so surprised that she phoned and apologized, and just made me think it's easy to ignore these kind of things, but I have to find a solution, I have to find a way to break through. And actually, that sister and I are very close now. You know, I really respect her and understand her, and she contributed a lot to the team. So I think it's really important not to ignore somebody and try and find a solution. So that was just one lesson for me, but I did have to practice using prayer and truth. And because we know Cain and Abel, we know all these things about the divine principle. Unity is so important in order for God to work, you know. So removing one's fallen nature, seeing from God's viewpoint. So it requires a lot of effort. Yeah. So yeah, I was really pleased that we could overcome this. Yeah, these 8 vertical, 8 horizontal steps are so important, and also the fact that Father revealed to us that the cause of sin and the fall was, you know, the archangel, not really substituting God's position and taking over and putting God aside and taking Adam and Eve under his wing, but making it even harder for God. So these kind of secrets that Father taught us is amazing, actually. If we use them in our lives, it can really help and liberate us. Yeah, I wanted to talk. One other thing was when Father went to Danbury, you know, and it's this relating to this Bible quote about Jesus serving, you know. But Father was also the same, because Danbury was like his crucifixion, you know. He was He went to Danbury, and before he left, he was encouraging members. He says, please don't cry for me, you know, and there's thousands of people and hundreds and thousands of people who need you and need you to work and help them and support them. And then Father went into Danbury, and of course we know the story that the prisoners mocked Father, you know, and laughed at him, and Father just, you know, stripped away all his, everything was stripped away from him. He was like a servant of servant in prison. He had no voice, he had nobody around him. But one point Father said when he came out of prison that this was a time for him to pray and to meditate, you know. And then during his time in prison, he became like a servant, you know. He had to clean like everybody else, and people were mocking him, and he had no voice to share, but he kept his tradition of praying, doing hondoke, and nothing changed in him. He kind of kept this absolute standard. Doesn't matter if you're in prison or you're in palace, it doesn't matter. But for Father, it was really about keeping this absolute standard in front of God, because he knew where his values lied. And so I was really moved by Father's life, and how he won the prisoners, you know, through encouraging them to study the Bible with him, and then eventually, you know, converting them internally first, and then step by step winning his disciples. And these people really loved him when he left the prison. Of course, there are many, many stories that Father has about his experiences of using this principle of servant, and then winning people from mind and body unity, and then expanding that into his own heart. And when when Father was released from Danbury, they had all these Christian ministers. I think there was about 2,000 Christian ministers. They had this God and Freedom banquet, where all these ministers from different denominations, like the Methodists, the Baptist, and all the different Pentecostal, Anglicans, they all came together and to uphold, you know, and welcome Father back. It was amazing, amazing. I don't know if anyone's seen this video. It's incredible, actually, that these Christian heads of Christian denominations are speaking so highly about Father. And you see, Father was at the bottom in prison, but then these Christian ministers put him so to the highest. But when Father came up to speak, it was amazing. He spoke in English. And, you know, it's not easy, but he made a determination to speak in English, and he spoke so beautifully. I was moved to tears, actually. His heart, his wish, you know, to convey God's heart to these Christian ministers who have such an important mission in America, you know, because America is a chosen nation by God, you know, for the sake of for the free world. And at that time, there was a real threat of communism to take over. And the Father needed these Christian ministers to uphold their values, and also to help the youth from not going a path that will destroy them. Anyway, he spoke in English, and he was so gracious, so wonderful, and so determined, even though some of the words were so difficult for him to pronounce, you know. And then I thought to myself, gosh, how many times has Father told me to learn Korean? But actually, just through that little bit of listening to the words in English, it really moved me. If I had learned Korean and I could understand what Father's saying, I think I would understand his heart more, you know. But because he spoke in English, it just touched my heart so much, actually. And he was talking, you know, like he is always. He will never deviate, always talks about the principle, always talks about the three blessings and the mission of the Christianity, mission of Jesus. He didn't judge them, but he was just there, you know, sharing his heart with them, and encouraging them to take up their role, actually, in a proper way. He wasn't putting them down because of their beliefs, but let's work together and unite together. Yeah, maybe I'll send that link to Aja, and if somebody's interested, you can watch it, because it's worth watching, actually. And it's very akin to what True Mother is saying, you know, that she's reaching out to Christian ministers. And reaching out to the congregation as well. It's she's not. I feel she's absolutely doing what Father wanted, you know, way back. Unfortunately, the foundation wasn't there for him at that time, and Mother is really substantiating what Father wants and wanted, and they are working together concretely. Yeah, I mean, of course, True Mother has her own course as well. You know, Mother went through a really difficult path once Father passed, you know, into the spirit world. And Mother was, you know, absolutely broken that Father had gone, you know, and she had to pick herself up and then find a way to lead this into our world movement, you know, to lead and to uphold God's ideal of what he wants on this earth is to be substantiated. And as you all know, that she said that she had to find her way through this sandstorm, you know, with all even the grit in her eyes, you know, that she still had to find that path. And I think many of us feel that sometimes we're in this kind of desert, you know, we just don't know what we're doing. We just have to keep moving. The winds are blowing, the desert, the sand is in the air and it's in our eyes, but we have to find a solution and we have to keep going, you know. And I also sometimes felt that, as I mentioned last time I came and spoke about my own family, you know, my own parents going through that, I had to find a solution. I am so glad that I went back and did it, you know, because I don't want to live a regret that I could have done something and I didn't. Yeah, so I feel there's a lot of hope with our True Mother now. This she's got substantiating with this palace, that's this Chongun. Yeah, that she's going to open that and dedicate it. It's not just a building, you know, it's really something for our heavenly parents to be comforted, and it is so important that we go to Korea with the heart of understanding that this is like a turning point in God's providence, and Mother's not doing it just to look good or to look it's all flashy, you know. It's not that. It's very deeply rooted in what God needs at this time, and also a legacy and tradition that has to be set, a place where people can come from all over the world, you know, all faiths or no faiths can come and take time to be there, you know, for reflection, meditation. I think it is a wonderful thing, and our True Mother really needs our support, really, I feel. She's, it's not easy for a woman to stand in a position, especially, sorry to say, but Korean men are quite strong, you know, and for a woman to take that lead, you know, and going through persecution, you know, I feel there's not so much external persecution from the outside like Father faced, but a bit more internal persecution from our own members or her family, you know, and that sometimes is really tough, you know, to go over that. It's kind of a crucifixion of the heart, you know. You feel really crucified if your family is not with you, but you still feel a calling from God that you have to do things, you know, that there's an urgency, and that she's asking us don't to hesitate, you know, let's go forward together. We have so much to do. There's no time to retire and to relax, and you know, so much to do, and we've already come such a long way together. Why not just, you know, do more, just do that extra little. Like Father never gave up, True Mother doesn't, and Jesus didn't give up until he never gave up. He came back, even he was crucified, you know, he came back to encourage people to keep going. Yeah, so I wasn't sure I should share when I was thinking about this, but of course we're in this 40-day condition of grace. It is a time of reflection. I think that's what Mother wants us to do, you know, reflect, and even she said we should repent, you know, and sometimes we have to look at the hard reality and see where we are and try and, you know, re-evaluate our lives and where we should be going, and are we aligned with true parents and aligned with what God wants. Yeah, I think Easter's coming and things are happening. Yeah. I think we all are seeking for some kind of turning point in our lives as well, a turning point that can help us. So yeah, I wanted to just share this with you all. I hope it's okay. I mean, I'm just your sister. We are all brothers and sisters under True Parents, and we want to really create this Heavenly Parents Holy Community, bringing all faith together, and also our friends and family. I wish we could fill the room with them as well, so that they could be part of this this community that, I mean, the south of the river community is so wonderful, and I know how much how much blood, sweat, and tears were invested into having an embassy like this, a peace embassy, and it's great to see it's full. But I think we can fill it even more, you know. And there's so much on the horizon that will happen, and like, are we going to be ready when people start coming? So yeah, anyway, I wanted to say thank you for listening to me, and I hope you could get something, and let's support each other, help each other, and work together, support our national leader like Mfumiko-san, and also our pastor, Aja and Mitty, to support them, unite, because with unity, so many things are possible. Miracles can happen, which we never expected. So yeah, thank you so much. I will close with a prayer. That's okay. Our dearest Heavenly Parents, our beloved True Parents, thank you so much. We do feel blessed by you, Heavenly Parents. You came into our lives knowing that we needed to be saved, knowing that we have the potential, Heavenly Parents, to reach out to others. Heavenly Parents, I'm so glad that you chose us. And when we think how lucky we are, within one, even in this room, Heavenly Parents, we have the whole world, brothers and sisters of different nations, different races, different ages. Everything is encompassed here, Heavenly Parents. We don't need to look too far away in order to really understand the heart of others. Heavenly Parents, please let us practice what you've taught us. Let us just give that extra helping hand to people who need it. We know there are many people who are destitute, many people who are hungry, Heavenly Parents, and many people who have no education. On that side, our life is a life that is blessed by you, Heavenly Parents. We have a community of brothers and sisters. We can turn to each other when we are struggling. If we're in need, Heavenly Parents, you've given us that gift. I really pray that you can guide us even deeper now. Heavenly Parents, we are really coming to a point where True Mother really needs us at this time. Help us to really respond and put away our own thoughts. And if we do have thoughts that are not aligned, please let us make conditions to find realignment with you, Heavenly Parents. Please bless us and guide us, and let us be your champions, and let us live a life of grace, and that you can be proud, as we are proud of our True Parents and the life of Jesus. And Heavenly Parents, I pray that you can walk with us in this coming week. I offer you this prayer with gratitude. I report in the name of Mitty, a wife and a mother of a blessed central family, Arju.
Arju.